How can you say no to smoking without using willpower? Hi, this is Nasia Davos, and in this video, you will learn 3 ways to say no to smoking when someone offers you a cigarette or even when you're alone and you're trying to talk yourself into having one. And knowing these 3 ways is going to help you be prepared for and handle tempting situations and feel more confident, more in control, and not feel like you're missing out. And you can use the tips that I will share with you when you're alone or when you're with other people. But before we get started, subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button so you can get more videos that will help you say no to smoking. So let's get to it. Tip number 1 is to visualize yourself saying no to smoking. This is going to help you prepare for high-risk situations before ever facing them, so that when you do, you will remain smoke-free. But what is visualization? Visualization is when you see something in your mind's eye. It's a mental representation of yourself, of other people, of an object, of an idea, or of a goal. It's like imagination. It's like daydreaming, but you're focused on a goal. And your goal is to see yourself saying no to smoking. For example, if feeling anxious and stressed is a very strong trigger for you, imagine yourself being in stressful situations, and instead of lighting up, you say no to smoking. And this is important because our mind can't really tell the difference between reality and imagination, and there is a lot of research about that. For example, when athletes visualize themselves training and when they actually train, what happens is that the same areas in their brain light up. Because when you visualize something, your mind thinks you're experiencing it. Your mind thinks it's actually happening. So when it does happen, you feel like you've been in the same situation before and conquered it. And many people tell me, I can't visualize, or it's very hard for me. So if that's you, if you think you can't visualize, let's do something together. I want you to think now of your front door. Think of your front door now. What color is it? Where is the handle? On the right or on the left? What's the material of the door? Is it a big door? Does it have a mat or not? See your hand opening the door slowly. Now, if you did this with me now, you created a mental representation of your door, so you visualized. But even if you can't visualize perfectly, that's okay. Just think of it as imagining. So I want you to imagine yourself being offered a cigarette by a friend and saying no, and notice exactly how you say it and what your friend says back. Or imagine driving to the store, going to the counter, feeling tempted to buy a pack and not buying it, and you ask for something else instead. What do you ask for? Or imagine seeing your partner's or your friend's cigarettes just lying around and you are not taking one. What do you do instead? Imagine being at work and seeing your colleagues smoking. How do you say no without feeling you're missing out? I want you to visualize yourself saying no to smoking in every situation you can possibly imagine. After an argument, when you're with friends, with work stress, feeling overwhelmed, or even feeling happy and celebrating something. And include in your visualization, what do you tell yourself for being able to say no to smoking? How does that make you feel? I promise you, if you practice this, it's gonna be golden. Because when you actually find yourself in these situations, it's gonna be easy to say no without using your willpower because you're gonna have experience. Now, tip number 2. Think of what will happen after you smoke. What do I mean? What makes a cigarette seem tempting is thinking only about the next moment, the moment where you picture yourself just lighting up, the instant gratification. A few weeks ago, I did an experiment. I interviewed a group of ex-smokers who were happy about their quit and a group of ex-smokers who struggled. So we met and I put a cigarette in front of each of them and I asked them, do you want this cigarette? Those who were happy non-smokers, they said that they didn't want it and they didn't have to use their willpower to say no. But those who were struggling said yes, they wanted the cigarette and they had to use their willpower to say no. So then I asked, what do you think when you look at that cigarette? What comes to your mind? And here's the thing, those who didn't have to use willpower, they thought how terrible they would feel after they smoked. They thought how terrible they would feel if they break their quit, and how one cigarette can turn to many, and how smoking can create more and more problems for them. But those who wanted the cigarette and had to use their willpower, they thought how they would feel after taking the first puff, and they rationalized that they could have just one cigarette. So this is a very different way of thinking, as you can see. Those who use their willpower, they only think about the next moment and they rationalize why they can smoke. But those who don't want to smoke and they don't have to use their willpower, they think what will happen after smoking, and they're more realistic about it. So I want you to use that lesson and do what the people who don't use willpower do. To remove the temptation, don't just think of yourself smoking. Instead, create a bigger, a longer movie in your mind. Think how you will feel 10 minutes after smoking, how one cigarette will make you crave it the next day, and how that could lead to more and more cigarettes and you struggling to quit for years. Think of the conflict and the regret that comes after smoking a cigarette, and how one cigarette can easily turn to 1,000, because the temptation goes when you think it through. The temptation goes when instead of thinking what you want right now, you think of what you want for the rest of your life. Moving on, tip number 3, use your self-talk. Your self-talk is probably the most powerful tool you have in your possession. Now, when you are addicted to something, whether that's nicotine or food or alcohol, you have two minds, your mind and the craving mind. I want you to think of the craving mind like as Gollum, that creature from Lord of the Rings, that pretty thing. All it wants is its precious fix. And the craving mind communicates to you in the form of a thought, because cravings are just thoughts. Cravings are just positive thoughts about smoking. Thoughts like, I need a cigarette, or a cigarette would make me feel better now, or I can't cope without it, or he did that, or she did that, or this happened, whatever it is. They're just thoughts. But because they're thoughts, they cannot hurt you, break you, or make you do anything. But they can be very convincing if you let them. So how can you manage those thoughts so that they will not overpower you? So what you shouldn't do is you shouldn't resist those thoughts, because what you resist persists. And when you resist your craving thoughts, they become stronger and stronger, and you're going to have to use your willpower to resist them, which makes it really hard. You also shouldn't scare yourself or make yourself feel guilty, because most of the times when we feel scared or guilty, we go back to the illusion of comfort that smoking gives us. Instead, what you should do is acknowledge the craving thought for what it is. When your craving mind tells you, you need a cigarette right now, reply back to it and say, thank you for sharing, but you're wrong, I don't need a cigarette. Or you can say, I heard you, shush now. Just have a small conversation and then let the thought go. Because if you have that small conversation and acknowledge that the thought is there, it is going to be easier to let it go. And thoughts come and go all the time. So don't hold on to the craving thought. Just say to yourself, next thought please. And your brain will listen. Your brain will provide you with a new thought. You have a stream of thousands of thoughts every moment. So why focus on the one thought that makes you feel bad? Just because your craving mind proposes a thought and seeks your attention, it doesn't mean you have to listen and you have to entertain that thought. And the great thing is that your craving mind, the more you remain smoke-free, the craving mind will eventually fade away. Now, what happens when your friends or your partner or your colleagues tell you to smoke? Now, when that happens, you have two people to reply to, that friend and the craving mind. And many times when a friend tells you to smoke, you may get defensive or feel pushed, or even worse, give yourself permission to smoke. So just remember that those who smoke would like to be non-smokers. And what I want you to do is to tell yourself, I don't smoke anymore. And then say it out loud, I don't smoke anymore. And if someone insists, just be a broken record. Say, I don't smoke anymore 1,000 times, as many times as you need to. So, to sum up, visualize yourself saying no to smoking in different situations. Think of what will happen long after you smoke that one cigarette, and use your self-talk and reply back to the craving mind. I hope you found this video useful and that it will help you say no to smoking without using willpower, whether you're alone or whether you're with other people. If you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button below and leave a comment and let me know if you have any tips or ideas that can help. Also, please share this video with someone who can benefit from it, and be sure to subscribe to get new videos about how to quit for good. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next video.